It went down really badly. They had a terrible reaction, came to a conclusion together. You are our son, we love you, but don't tell anybody in the family. The sad story is my mother died from breast cancer 10 years ago, and her religion was so strong, she thought it was a punishment from God for having a gay son. She told that on her deathbed to my father and sister, so my father still lives with that guilt.
But your Greek background, explain more about that. What is your background and how was your upbringing? Was it religious? And then I want to lead into coming out and how that was for you, if you're comfortable with that. Yeah.
One of you two, you came here from Jordan. You're first generation like me. Is it the other way around?
Yeah. So my dad is Sierra Leonean, my mum is English, but I was born and raised here.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same as Syriolian and Greek background, but basically, I'll answer the question. My parents came over from Greek Cypriot from North Cyprus, invaded by the Turks in '74, and the Greek Cypriots in the north had to move. Basically, a lot of them. All my family went to the south. Some went to Greece. My parents went to London. A lot of Greek Cypriots went to London. We joke that North London, Palmer's Green, is Palmer's Greek, and it's a very Greek Cypriot part of the world. However, when an immigrant leaves from the country, say they left in the 70s, some in the 60s, they take away the values and the traditions and the customs that were there in the 60s, 70s, and they maintain it abroad. Whereas back in Cyprus, they move on. So the immigrants tend to be a bit more conservative.
Actually.
Yeah, I was wondering if you've seen that with. You've got a mix of British as well.
Yeah, I was predominantly like British, like
Raised,
upbringing, like from my mum's side and that kind of thing. But like speaking to like different family members, they're quite. There's also a mix in my family as well, because half my family in Sierra Leone is like Christian, the other half is Muslim. So I feel like they're all kind of mixed up. So it might be a little bit different, but
I've noticed that
Faris,
with my family, like moving, even though we moved as kids, there was definitely a stronger sense to stick with the identity and the culture. And I noticed that a lot with my Asian friends, like Indian Asians, like they will almost be more strict and rigid with who they date or whatever than their family members back home, because they're trying so hard and yet they're progressing and you're kind of stuck in the past. That's really interesting.
Same with the Greek community. Cyprus got rid of their anti-gay law in 1998, a bit late. So it's like England 20 years before, if that makes sense. So my parents grew up in a very conservative, religious, Greek Orthodox society, and they brought that with them. My mother was very religious. I came out late. I was 20 years old. I think that's quite late, and that's the first time I had a sexual experience with a man. I came out to my parents when I was 26 years old. It went down really badly. My mother just did not. They had a terrible reaction. It was awful. But they agreed. We came to a conclusion together. You are our son. We love you, but don't tell anybody in the family. Don't tell any of our friends, because they will use it as gossip. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
So it created this wall against the community, the Greek community, the family. I just kept away from them, and only through Nomadic Boys, being this open queen in the world, have I managed to come out to them over the last 5 years, and it's fine. But then the sad story is my mother died from breast cancer 10 years ago, and her religion was so strong, she thought it was a punishment from God for having a gay son. She told that on her deathbed to my father and sister, so my father still lives with that guilt. So he's 83, so he's of a generation as well. But Seb and I got married, the town thing, he couldn't bring himself to come, but he's met Seb, he really likes Seb, he's met Seb's mother, but he said, I just cannot bring myself to accept this gay thing because of what your mother said and my values. And so it's tough with the Greeks. Although it's changing, the Greek Orthodox Church, it's still very backward. Having said that, Greece, very Greek Orthodox Church country, they're really coming from, we all know about Mykonos, right? But then this year they've legalized gay marriage. They had Europride in Thessaloniki. It's really moving forward. Yes, there's still problems. There's lots of stories like mine and the villages outside of Athens and Thessaloniki, but it's moving forward. And Cyprus does whatever Greece does eventually. So there's hope there.
And it's also generations as well. I feel like with your dad being in his 80s, maybe if he was in his 60s, like it would be like a little bit different, because I feel like with our our family, like there was stuff happening, but they kind of like did slowly move past it. And I feel like
it's visibility. I mean, what was their perception of gay? UN, I think it was 94 when the UN said, I'm going somewhere with this. The UN said homosexuality is not a disease. It happened in 94, I think.
Okay.
You're gonna fact check me. But before that, that's how the world saw homosexuality. And obviously the AIDS crisis didn't work.
Yeah.
So they grew up at a time when if there was ever any representation of a gay character in a soap or some sort of gay issue in the papers or on the radio, it would be in a negative light. Or as you know, when did we first see gay characters? In England, it was, for me, Queer as Folk in 2000, Graham Norton.
Yeah.
You know, that's when it's...
But even that was still like surrounded by sex and drugs.
Yes.
I feel like literally since Heartstopper, that's when I've seen actual representation where it's like
changed
normal.
a lot.
Yeah.
100%.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's really sad. How do you feel about that? Like, how have you processed that information? Because I've heard a lot of people say when they're religious that they believe that they are being punished with a gay son or a lesbian daughter or whatever. But how did you process that? Like, what do you believe? Are you religious? Do you hold any of that still with you, or have you been?
Do you know what I said? I am extremely religious. Ask me what my religion is.
What is it?
Kindness.
That's cute.
Love and kindness. Just that. And I mean, people who are religious, Christians, Muslims, Hindu, genuinely religious, at their core, they just want to do good. They follow a set of rules that are told them, but they just want to be good people. And that's usually at the heart that
of
we all
most
have
religions,
in common.
Yeah.
It's just then it's decorated with all this shit.
And it's culture, the way that people have like perceived certain religious texts. And it's more of a culture now rather than what the basis of that religion necessarily was.
Yes.
So yeah, I do get that.
It is meant to be nice. So are you processed it in the sense of like this is just the way it is?
The easy reaction is, oh fuck, I hate you. I don't want to have anything to do with you. You're so I don't want to. But that doesn't help, and it doesn't help yourself either. It sounds cheesy, but if you do it through love and
compassion, and
so when we lost our mother, I moved in with my father and helped his grieving process. I was there with him and taught him to wash his clothes and cook and take care of him. We grew very close, but just there's this lingering thing that prevents us being really close, and that's fine. I think also there's a big age gap with me and my parents. There's a good 40 years, and my sister's a decade older than me, so she was more like a mother figure to me, and we're very close. So I think I saw them more as this grandparent figure, which you love, but it's not the same as
I understand that 100%.
It's how have I processed? I mean, it's we've reached a point where we just let him get on and be. He's this sweet old man. He's a lovely person. He's not a bad person. He's got a good heart. It's just those little values there.
Do you live near them still now? Or your family?
Dad lives in North London, sister's in West London, and I live in Cyprus.
Oh, okay.
I come every other month.
Oh, that's cute.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So you seen them now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.